plot twist, Deborah Goodrich Royce just released Reef Road on paperback, along with some additional content. Deborah, thank you so much for your time today.
I'm so happy to be with you. I love Chicago.
Oh, we love that you love it, and we love you here. But first, let's talk a little bit about the starting off point of this book, because it was inspired by an unsolved mystery that was pretty close to your family.
It was. Sadly, in 1948, when my mother was 12 years old, her best friend was murdered right before Christmas, stabbed 36 times at home, and it has remained an unsolved crime to this day, even though the case was reopened, to my knowledge, in 2008, and that's an interesting story of how I know that. And I think for my mother, she was very much changed by this incident that happened when she was so young. It altered, I would say, the range of possibilities of what things that she thought could actually happen to a human being. And when COVID shut us down in 2020, I was in Florida on book tour with another book and just plopped where I was and decided to take the time to finally research the real crime, which then became the foundation of this work of fiction.
I mean, especially, you talk a little bit about being in Florida at that time, and Reef Road was an actual place, but you also talk about movies like Cape Fear, like the destination, something is going on there just by those two-word titles. Talk a little bit about picking Reef Road as the title for this book.
So my books are nonlinear, and I knew I was going to have two stories in Reef Road. So I have the story of this writer, the lonely writer who's obsessed with her mother's friend's murder. And then there's another much more noirish plot about a younger woman, Linda, whose very handsome husband, Miguel, and their two little children disappear from their home on Reef Road in this COVID lockdown and are tracked getting on a plane to Buenos Aires. She can't follow because of COVID-19. So in picking a street name, I knew I wanted to have this character of Linda, and I was in the lockdown. After I'd have my mornings writing, I would ride my bike around the island of Palm Beach, and most of the street names are kind of pretty and uplifting, names like Banyan or Hibiscus. And I came across Reef Road, and I thought, oh, now there's a street name, because it connotes something slightly dangerous, and it was a perfect name.
Dangerous, mysterious, it kind of says all those things. We're also getting some new content in the book. Can you tell us a little bit about what we're going to get, or in the paperback version?
Oh, in the paperback. So you get a really cool interview with me from, I think, Publishers Weekly. They did a very nice interview with me. So that's at the back of the book. You get a reader's guide. So paperbacks are very attractive to book clubs. It's, a nice little handy thing that they can use. And with this reader's guide at the back, it can guide their Q&A.
As far as you being a kid or a young adult, what were some of those books that you read that have inspired you to become a writer?
So I was an only child. I was a big reader. I mean, we were talking here in the studio today. Even as a young kid, I would sit in the basement and go through these old encyclopedias from the 1940s and read whatever I could in there. But that obviously didn't affect storytelling. From a youngest kid, I loved things like The Secret Garden, mysteries like that. I loved Nancy Drew. As a teenager, I certainly went through the Jane Austen books, Anna Karenina, all that stuff. The gothic, darker thrillers like Jane Eyre and Wuthering Heights, Rebecca, and on and on. I think the thing about reading is you can be any age and you just keep expanding what you've read and what you know. And I think all you can do as a writer really is write for yourself. Because if you're writing for yourself, if it's true for you, if it resonates for you, it will by extension be true and resonate for some other people. You never can try to game, what do the people want? It has to be very personal.
And given your TV background, are you the possibility of maybe turning Reef Road into a series or a film? Is that something that goes on in the back of your head, or maybe crossing your fingers that maybe one day that could be possible?
Always. So my first book, Finding Mrs. Ford, was optioned by producers, and they had the wonderful actress Gillian Anderson attached. And you remember her, she played Maggie Thatcher in The Crown. She's fantastic. And that kind of reached some stumbling blocks, as those things do. So that's on pause. At the same time, my second book, Ruby Falls, is being written as a screenplay right now. So, we're at major fingers crossed. And Reef Road is being looked at. So that's the kind of process where you really shouldn't hold your breath. It would be nice if it happens, but so many things have to go right for that to fall into place.
Gotcha. And then you mentioned at the beginning of the interview that you love Chicago. Last time you were here, and favorite things to do in town.
So I was there last spring. I have a very dear friend in Winnetka who has so graciously thrown me some book parties. She threw me a book party at a beautiful downtown club called the Casino, which is one of the prettiest clubs I've ever seen. She gave me a luncheon once in Winnetka, once in Lake Forest. So I feel like I come back and have this little coterie of readers there.
Oh, we love it, and we can't wait to have you back here. Deborah, thank you so much for your time today. Reef Road now available on paperback.
Thank you.